Apparently, we are live.
Welcome to the In the Garden podcast. We're here with.
Do you want to try that
Let's
again?
just go again. Let's go again.
Okay. You know what, Carter? You need to keep that in. You need to keep it in. Act like Gideon had to, recover himself, and then cut it right there.
See, I'm here with you guys. To the listeners, I have not entered the room yet.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Graham Burns.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. What is a Graham Burns?
Graham Burns does not exist.
Yeah. All right. Should I cue you in again?
Please.
All right. Apparently, we are live.
All right. You're sounding more and more like a pirate every time you say
All
that.
right. That's just like the.
All right. Welcome to the
lazy
In
way.
the Garden podcast. Here.
Do you want to just try it again?
Just do it again.
All right. Apparently, we're live.
Welcome to the In the Garden podcast. You're here with your host Gideon Marlatt and my co-host Jake Hughes.
How you doing?
Our special guest today is Graham Burns.
Hey, Graham.
Guys. How's it
Howdy,
going?
howdy. Hey.
Doing great. Yeah, I've known you for a couple years now. You're also a student at New St. Andrews. You're also a student at the Certificate of Music program at NSA.
Yes, sir.
We have an organ student in the room. I don't know if you know that, but
Organ.
this guy's killer at the
So
organ.
he's good with his hands and his feet.
That's
Same time.
definitely one way to
At
say
the
it.
same time. Gosh.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
that's
It's,
that's the intro,
That's
right?
literally all you need to know about me. You do not need to know anything more.
No.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Graham.
Hey, Graham. It's true. Okay, I remember you telling me your freshman year, I think, that your dad was a musician and he played around here.
He did. He was in a alt rock band called Shaking Tree in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Alt rock. Okay.
Yeah, alt rock. That was a thing in the '90s. It
Yeah.
sounds good.
Oh, I'm
Don't
aware.
get me wrong. It sounds good. I like
I'm
the
aware.
music. He had told me we were visiting the college back in November of 2020,
Yeah.
and we pulled into Moscow, and my dad immediately had deja vu about the place.
Yeah.
He specifically remembers the restaurant Taco Time. He and his band members had their
Specifically
dinner there because
the
they thought
Moscow
the name was
Taco
so
Time.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically the
The
Moscow
taco-
one.
The Moscow Taco Time.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
They played over at John's Alley for a hop and crew of probably about 6 people because it was in the middle of summer and it's a college town.
Yeah. John's Alley seems to
Wow.
be the area where a lot of Moscow bands get their start.
Really?
There's a band that's touring that's a Pink Floyd cover band. It's
Oh,
called
wow.
Pigs on the Wing. They've performed here a couple of times. I went and saw them
That's
at the
cool.
Kenworthy, and they got their start at John's Alley, and now they're doing like U.S. tours, doing Pink Floyd tribute songs.
Wow.
Great.
Okay. John's Alley is the one with all the wall mural, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one with the cat as the
cat's
sign
logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never been in there, but it seems very.
I'd get kicked out
sketch.
because I'm not of age.
You're not.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to be 21.
Yeah, it's I was talking to Nate Wolf about that place and he's like, yeah, that's like the one dive bar that's just like it just feels grunge and just like
We're
it's
close enough to
has the
Seattle that
grunge
it
vibes.
seeps in.
well because it just feels kind of dirt. I can't run with you, Jake.
Oh, really? Does it now?
It feels dirty and like dark, but at the same time there's just a lot of cool stuff that happens in there. Like music.
Yeah.
No, but so well, okay, real quick for my own context, alt rock, what would that be categorized with? We're not talking Weezer here.
What
are
are
we?
some bands?
No,
maybe
we're
there?
talking more acoustic than Weezer.
more
um,
acoustic than
More
Weezer.
acoustic.
I would maybe Lumineers is a example. I think they're more on the line of pop.
yeah, they're more
but
like folk, almost. I'd say.
maybe. Yeah. I'm
We're not
probably
talking electric
Lumineers.
guitar.
Yeah. Alt rock,
Now we're talking acoustic guitar, my dad's electric bass, drum set.
like Muse. I don't know if you've
I'm not
Okay.
as familiar with music.
Radiohead or the White Stripes.
Oh, those.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like 90s, early 2000s rock bands. They're not classic rock like we think of it, like rock from the 60s, 70s,
Sure.
and 80s.
There's not
Yeah,
high
it's-
strung guitar solo. It's just more like
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't have the old feel of classic rock. It's alternative rock by
Sure. Yeah,
definition.
it's a very relaxed kind of music. I think.
Yeah.
Didn't take itself too seriously. Didn't didn't take itself too lightly.
Yeah.
This is before. These were the bands that were popping up before.
Yeah.
Streaming music was huge.
Yeah.
Bands like Weezer and Nirvana are more along the grunge side, or the alternative music of the day.
Yeah.
So I guess you could technically say Weezer's alt rock, but not as much as, say, the other bands that we mentioned.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
By the way, no, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my dad played bass for that band up until the time he met my mom.
Okay.
Nice.
Was that part of the deal? Drop the bass.
It was.
Drop the bass, pick up the woman.
It was unexpected, actually. So
okay, I'm
thankful for it. Obviously, I'm here before you today.
Yeah,
but,
good.
Gideon, do you know Aaron Ventura? You know Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know he used to be a hip hop guy? He used to have a rap career.
Unfortunately, did.
Yeah. I was told. I was talking with his father-in-law, Jim Vanderploeg, a couple of years ago, and he was telling me that one of the deals about marrying his daughter was dropping the hip hop.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. He was just it was not like
smart
an ultimate
man.
deal breaker, but it's just like, if you want to marry my daughter, you might want to drop the act.
We'll all
called out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
probably not
thank
going to
you
be on the
for it.
episode. But
Oh, I've listened to some of his stuff.
it's
and while
fine for what it is.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's
I just figured out what it sounded like I said. But if you can edit that last 5 seconds out, I'm just gonna roll with it.
Great.
No, the talking about the grunge.
Yeah.
I learned just the other day from Nate Wolf that whole the whole movement of grunge is just a rebellion against kind of the classic rock. Like rock is just sex, drugs, and party. So they were like all about like being. So they were all vegan, like conservative, fairly conservative. Didn't touch drugs. Didn't do any of that stuff. Like were pretty strict about being celibate. On purpose would some bands would limit how much they would actually sell a ticket for.
Yeah.
So they would never sell a ticket for over $20.
What kind of bands are we talking about? Because I know this obviously isn't true all across the board.
We're talking
grunge.
like Black Flags.
We're talking about grunge.
Grunge.
I had a
Grunge. Yeah.
Jane's Addiction and Garbage. You know the band Garbage? It's a great name for a band. There's also a band called Failure, which is also
Failure. That sounds like grunge.
They were selling themselves short.
Yeah,
Obviously, we've heard of them.
But a lot of grunge music and a lot of music in the 90s, particularly, were veering on the edge of political.
Yeah.
Just, that was the decade where, I think Nixon and all the controversial political figures, and especially when you have divisive bands.
I'm not a crook.
Yeah, where you have divisive bands like Rage Against the Machine, who are just straight up commies.
Hey.
And they sing about it as well. It's it seems like the decade for political music for sure.
While I don't agree with their political aspects,
Yeah.
their music choice.
I like Rage Against the Machine. It's
Rage Against the Machine is just
rocking.
amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to a whole lot of grunge myself.
Yeah. Well,
You have to be. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a
with
hard
Weezer.
one to
Just
get
going
into.
kind of eyes wide open, right?
start with Weezer.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a hard one to kind of get into. Like when we're talking like Bad Brains, Black Flags, some of these like deeper grunge.
Soundgarden.
New.
No, not Soundgarden.
No, the Herb Garden.
Maybe Soundgarden. People, yeah. Some of the guys in grunge just didn't like Soundgarden.
Well, that's because they were jealous of Chris Cornell's voice. What's that guy's name? Is it Chris Cornell? The Soundgarden singer?
Jake has to.
What
check
was
his
the other?
sources.
By the way, what was the other Seattle bands? Soundgarden,
Nirvana
Yeah,
was
Nirvana.
Nirvana.
was like the biggest band to come out of Seattle. Seattle bands. Seattle is like the birthplace of grunge.
Yeah.
My dad and I went to the Rock and Roll Museum in Seattle.
It's a great one.
I loved it there.
Yeah.
They have like some of Jimi Hendrix's old guitars
Oh, yeah.
on display.
Have you gone there, Graham?
I have not actually.
You should.
Pearl Jam is
up
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam is
Pearl Jam.
a
that's
lot
right.
of people
Yeah,
have
no,
heard that. Alice in Chains,
Alice in Chains.
Foo
amazing.
Fighters.
Alice in Chains is fantastic.
Apparently Macklemore is also from Seattle. I don't know why he's
Yes,
listed
that's
in
true.
this band in these grunge
I was
bands.
gonna say
but-
grunge.
yeah, he is definitely. Could you imagine if Macklemore went into grunge?
Oh, gosh.
Some Seattle grunge thrift shop.
I'm wearing your granddad's clothes. No,
Let's see if
I mean, it kind of makes sense just with all that gloom just hanging over everyone's head. I mean, it's just gray.
yeah, the 90s.
Seattle
That
is
was
just
that was the whole decade
That
of the
is-
90s.
It's just gray. That's it. And they all like it
Isn't-
like that, and it sucks.
Part of me wonders if the grayness of Seattle is what inspired grunge.
Yeah,
You have to wonder
probably.
what the weather would have had to have been like for some other genres of music.
what made them so depressed that they would make something so bad? No.
Well, walk the streets of Seattle and you'll get the depression.
yeah,
honestly.
easily.
Yeah, I've walked to the streets of Seattle with my dad a couple of times, and it's just just the whole aura just seems gray and
You want
rainy and gloomy.
you want to keep one eye on the streets to make sure that you're not stabbed, while the other
Yeah.
eye is looking up, because that's really the only nice area of Seattle is looking up.
At the sky.
Yeah, because if you don't look at the streets, it's
That's
all
rough.
beautiful.
Yeah, my
well,
dad.
as with
yeah.
most cities, they keep all
Well,
the
big cities,
everything
yeah.
beautiful is like it's up. It's big skyscrapers. You want to look up, but like as soon as you look kind of down and where everyone is, it's just like homeless, like actual crap on the streets, like trash everywhere. It just feels kind of dirty.
Yeah, my dad told me whenever you're in a big city, always have your wallet in your front pocket,
Absolutely.
and not your back pocket.
Absolutely,
Yeah, because
never in the back pocket.
pickpockets and
Ah.
stabbers as well.
Just take someone to kind
Cyber
of brush up
pockets.
against you.
Yep.
Also, you're a little bit more sensitive in the front,
Yeah.
so.
Naturally.
Naturally. Okay. I'm going to spring a surprise on the both of you.
Ooh, fun.
Have
I
you guys
love
heard of
surprises.
the-
I'm shaking my custom baby seal leather.
Clearly. Have you heard of the abandoned hospital St. Idris, I think, over in Colfax?
I have not.
I have
no.
not either.
I don't go to Colfax. a lot.
Carter the producer just perked up, and I know exactly why. All right. No, so it's
It's usually a bad sign.
I
but
think I'm getting the name right. Graham, have you heard that? Have you heard
No,
of this?
absolutely not. This
No?
is the first I've ever heard of such a abandoned hospital.
Okay, well, I'm glad to introduce you to it. I heard it for the first time today, but apparently the owners of the Storm family, so the owners of Storm Cellar,
Oh yeah.
I think his name's Josh Storm, Joshua. I don't know. Anyway, I apologize if I butchered that name.
He's probably
Um,
listening right now. So
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, clearly this is such a high profile podcast.
Anyway, needless to say, it's an abandoned hospital. It's a bunch of nuns set it up, but a large department of this hospital was a psychiatric ward
in Colfax.
in Colfax.
Makes
And
sense.
it's still people, they host ghost tours at this hospital still. So it is.
They host ghost tours. Are there ghosts there?
What is a ghost
the
tour?
ghost
Is
tour?
that just
I'd like
like
to
this?
know about this.
If you look to your left, you see the ghost of George Washington. Or
Yeah, that's part of it. No, it's about. I've heard it's about 3 to 4 stories tall. It's got an attic and a basement, a couple crawl spaces, a few. It's got acreage around it, and it's like up in the back of the woods, and you kind of have to drive up into it, and then you'll see it. But apparently, it's been abandoned for quite some time, and it's got some really interesting stuff. So they'll go into what is called Rose's room. So an old patient, Rose, and they will set a flashlight on in like up with its light shining towards the ceiling and place it in the center of the room, and then start asking questions like, all right, if yes, blink the light once.
Oh,
if no,
it's a
blink
Ouija
it
board.
twice. And it blinks.
Okay.
It does blink.
Legit blinks. And
Colfax's Ouija board.
yeah, there's stories of guys who like
Should we name it Ouija?
they turn around and they see a shadow man like standing there at the end of a hallway for like a solid minute. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just a blink and it's gone. It's that thing is actually there.
No, yeah. There's people like the whole building. It's made out of brick, but it is on a warm, hot day. It is about 40 degrees in there, like at all times. You can go in there and you can, if you stand in Rose's room, people say that you can feel the temperature drop. Like,
because of the
Very much.
presence,
It's
the
already-
presence of the spirits. Or
Yeah.
Oh my!
so
It's already
it's
40 degrees. Like, if you're coming in there from a hot summer day, I mean, that's gonna be already.
yeah.
That's gonna already feel chilly.
Probably
I mean,
won't want to
so-
go there in the wintertime either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it's directly proportional.
But it's people go in there, and there's another guy who went in there to film. He's a professional photographer, and he went in there, all his batteries prepped, ready, all his equipment ready to go, right? And he walks into the building, and every battery on his equipment dies, just
Oh,
like that, and it's just dead. So it's just really small, interesting stuff. That's like, wow, that's creepy.
are you suggesting we
This is
visit this place someday?
Uh,
Maybe we could record an episode over there.
Well, I am. By
your
the way,
batteries will
I do
die,
want to
Jake.
make this clear.
yeah.
This is private property, so please don't go
Oh.
wandering onto this. If you have a way of getting in contact with the owner and he's willing to let you go, then maybe yes. But no, please don't go. But yeah, it's like they do host ghost tours there, so some way you can walk the property,
Huh.
and they let you do it. But yeah, it's there's some fun stuff out there.
Mm.
I mean, imagine it's a large hospital abandoned for a long time, like since the, I think 30s or something like that.
Mm.
For a while, and it's just been sitting there. And apparently the Storm family is remodeling it and turning it into a hotel.
Are they
So-
gonna kick the ghost out?
Are they going to call it Rose's Hotel?
well, the interesting thing, they did have their priest come and bless the grounds.
Okay. The power of Christ compelled them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Interesting.
Good news.
He's speaking in tongues, Lois.
Interesting.
The 444, what's up, man? He's speaking in tongues, Lois. Get the whole. You don't know that?
Is that from The Exorcist, or is that from Family Guy?
That's
Or?
from Family Guy.
Okay.
Oh my word!
Okay. I was
sorts
referencing
of
The
things
Exorcist, and then you went straight to Family Guy, and I think our connection got lost somewhere.
No, he does start. He throws the Bible at Meg and he's like, start at Psalm 54 and don't stop till I tell you. And then he whips out this bottle of holy water and he's like, power of Christ compels you.
Wow. All right. Hey, Graham, have you ever
Interesting
seen a
story.
ghost? Do you have any?
Have I seen a ghost? No. I closest I've gotten is probably some experience sleepwalking.
Okay.
There you go. Hey, that's pretty
So
darn
you were
close.
the ghost.
I was the
Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
I've been told as I was sleepwalking, I was fully lucid, coherent, was able to form sentences.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was obvious that I was asleep because I just snored right down the hallway when I was done.
Hey.
That is the way my dad phrased it. So
Interesting.
Nice.
I have been the ghost.
I have been the ghost.
Yeah. One of my earliest memories, I remember I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old. My brother and I had a bunk bed, and I was on the bottom bunk. And every now and then, when it was, in the middle of the night, my dad would come in and check if we were sleeping or not. And I remember just one time hearing footsteps come into the room, but I expected it to be my dad checking on us because, I had sleep problems back then. So it would usually be like into the night when I would actually get to sleep. And so I hear footsteps coming in, and I don't see my dad, but I look down and I see that there's divots in the carpet that are coming towards my
That's
bed.
terrifying.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if it was just me
No.
hallucinating, and then all of a sudden the divots just went away. So that was my childhood bed.
Wow.
And my childhood room. So I honestly, it was probably hallucinations, but the fact that it could have been a ghost is not out of the question. It is just one of my earliest memories that I rarely ever think of, but whenever ghost talk happens, which is not often around me, I like to bring up that story.
That is an interesting story. I don't think I have anything that close. The worst I have was
Maybe
like
I'm just a really
Okay, but
spiritual
you
person.
obviously have something, right?
it was a dream.
Okay.
But it was like a lucid dream.
Right.
I know people always perk up when I say that, but
Oh, really?
Lucid dream? Did you say? Tell me more. No, no. It was just very like. It just felt very physical, but it was a very scary dream. With I was in the room, but everything felt and looked like it was a layer of that. That old TV static. Where it's just shh, and you just see that like black and white, just pixelated everything.
The fuzzies.
Yeah, the fuzzies. Exactly.
That's a band name if
The
ever.
cold fuzzies, not the warm fuzzies.
Oh.
Two different fuzzies.
Exactly. Yeah, cold fuzzies. They were very cold fuzzies, but fuzzies nonetheless. Just very very, just grating. Yeah, not a fun room to be in. And then there was a. The only way I can describe it was a dark, presence. Just had a humanoid feel to
Racist,
it.
but okay.
But oh God, I
You can cut
can't
that
win.
out, Carter.
Even in my dreams, I can't win with you, Jake.
We know that it was definitely dark, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. There was
Clearly.
a presence, and it was
Yeah.
dark.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was just a very, dark presence, and I didn't. And then there was the only other thing left in the room was one of those white plastic table and chairs. Those
gosh.
those like thin plastic. Anyway, it was
Oh.
I can envision that in my head. I feel like I'm watching a horror movie.
it felt like one. Yeah, and
Was
so
there a soundtrack going on in your head as well?
well, no, it was just at the same time. It felt like my eyes were open and I knew I was sleeping, but it was a very conscious sleep.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I could fully see the room.
Yeah.
And it felt like I had been tipped upside down. So like my head was lower than my feet. Weirdly enough, I was still flat. I knew I was flat, but at the same time, my body was telling me something else. And so, and then you just start.
That's a great out of context soundbite.
And it's the way I feel after, I've had a full day on roller coasters. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
No, there was, yeah. And then I remember there was a conversation that happened, and I don't remember the actual context of the conversation, but it was just
There was in fact a
unnerving.
conversation, and you were terrified. And
Yeah.
you were fully aware that something was going on. You were dreaming.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it was just, like I said, lucid dream. So I knew I was there. I was conscious, but I was at the same time it was fully experiencing the dream. Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, those kinds of dreams, especially the ones where you realize mid dream that you're dreaming. Those were always the scariest experiences to live through and wake up from.
Really?
I am still scarred. I would always remember, back when I lived in California. I must have been, I don't know, 9 at the time.
Yeah.
I would have these dreams. I would be in my house, and then I would notice one little detail that was slightly off. I kid you not. I remember this plain as day because it was traumatizing to me. The lock on our front door was different.
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, that's small but
that was the
distinct.
one thing. And then as soon as I noticed that, the entire dream started to fall apart because I realized that I was not in my house. my voice. It was crazy.
The lock that broke the camel's back.
No, you wouldn't believe my first. I started shouting in the dream, but my voice came out like 2 seconds after I voiced it. My family wasn't my family anymore.
Yeah.
And then I finally worked myself up enough that I woke up.
Yeah.
That was it. I've had dreams similar to that since, even being in Idaho. I'm in a familiar place. Everything's all the same except for one little detail that's off.
Yeah.
Often it's maybe a person's hair color. Maybe it's I don't know.
A person's hair
window.
color.
Yeah, that has. I can't remember the exact instance that happened, but that
like
was
Jake having pink hair.
That
Could you imagine?
Well, actually, you know what? Maybe that's not that weird.
Should I rock pink hair this
No,
next
please
year?
don't. Please don't.
yeah, get bangs, get those pink highlights in there, and come into the studio.
Take the sides off and just keep. Yeah,
Jake would be like, guys, I'm starting a band called the Fuzzies.
yeah, and it's gonna be lit. Where it's only gonna be K-pop.
Oh gosh. No,
and I'm not Korean.
You know,
so that's gonna be even better.
Oh gosh, it's interesting that you say that, Graham, because it's like that idea of like your subconscious is filling in everything in those dreams. You're just kind of like your subconscious is putting forth this like feeling of, oh yeah, those are that's my family. This is my house, right?
Yeah.
And then for some reason, either it's the subconscious telling you that it's not your lock, or it's the failure of the subconscious to actually audibly or like tell you that it's your lock.
See,
and then your conscious brain like takes over and just says nope.
Yeah, I don't even know
Not my
how
lock.
that. I don't even know how that works, because I feel like something kind of has to be in the subconscious already
Yeah.
in order for the conscious to go,
that lock does not look familiar.
That lock is not the same lock.
Right.
I don't
But
think
if
that
it's-
person had that hair color.
At the same time, like if it's filling in everything else, like why would it not fill in that?
Yeah.
Or is that on purpose? It's just there's some like, have you ever done some like sleep studies? Sleep studies are the weirdest stuff out there. Like sleep and dream studies.
We should look into that. Maybe we should dedicate an episode to that, because that would be
cool.
That'd be cool to look
That'd
into.
be great. I mean, does anyone have any
Maybe get some
device to look up to? But it's just there's just
Some dream studies.
yeah, dream studies, because it's like there's some interesting stuff out there, like lucid dreaming. Like, how do you induce lucid dreaming, and is there benefits to it? Or have you ever heard? So I mean, we've heard the rhetoric teacher talk about like memory palaces,
Mind
Right.
Palace.
mind
Yeah.
palace.
Palace.
Sorry, not memory palace, mind palace. But there's people who actually dedicate time to dreaming their mind palace into existence. So like they're
So like
memorizing
they actively go to sleep and then
and
fill their
start
head while
studying
they're
things.
sleeping with.
Well,
those things
not
are
even
trying to
filling
memories.
their head. They just have things in their memory palace, right? Or mind palace. Oh gosh. So mind
You'll
palace.
get it one day.
same thing.
Gideon.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I hope that for myself as well.
Mr. Pinkall, if you're listening, we're sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, none of us took your class, but
So they like you can fill your mind palace, I should say, with information, right? And then they spend time just like studying what they've put in their mind. So you could be studying for an exam while you're sleeping.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's like
Cramming
there's
in
some-
I'm interested
long-term
now
memory
as I'm
and
Yeah, I know,
your
right?
we're all
dream
college
mind.
students, right?
it's
Yeah.
like I've only got 2 years left. What am I doing? Come on.
I have a sleep study up right now. This is from
Yeah, let's do it.
verywellmind.com. It has like all these different categories of like if your dreams include, falling from the sky or, being naked in public or anything like that. There's interpretations of these which are
Weird.
kind
I
of
can
interesting.
I can already hear the name Freud coming around here.
Yeah, maybe, but it's still interesting to read anyway.
That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's-
It says dreaming of falling is very common. It's a symbol of fear in real life, perhaps of failing at work or in your love life. So if you're falling, that means it doesn't bode well for you and your significant other.
So that means 10-year-old me was
in love.
Either very heartbroken or had failed at
That's
something
exactly
he didn't
what
even
it
know
meant.
he was doing.
Exactly.
Falling often expresses a need to let yourself go more and enjoy life more. So 10-year-old you, Graham, was missing out on a lot, I guess. Yeah. A dream about
who was the crush? Come on. Be honest. Who was the crush?
I got this button ready. just in case. All right. Dreams about being naked in public. It says dreaming of public nakedness might indicate that you feel like a phony or that you're afraid of revealing your imperfections and shortcomings. So make of that what you will. Dreams about being chased means you're trying to avoid something in your daily life. It's like constantly eating at you, and therefore there's something chasing you in your dream. There's some overlap there. And there's subcategories of this. It's like if you're depending on what you're being chased by.
Half naked.
Okay, I love this. I love this.
Covered, bottom covered.
Yeah, I love this. There's three subcategories. There's if you're chased by an animal, you might be hiding from your own anger, passions, and other feelings. 2, if you're being chased by an unknown chaser, or if you don't know the thing or the person or the animal. If your pursuer is a mysterious unknown figure, it might represent a childhood experience or past trauma. And this, I already know this is going to be my favorite. If you're being chased by a member of the opposite sex, that means that you're afraid of love or haunted by a past relationship.
Oh gosh!
If you've ever had
I can't remember any instance of that being the chaser. So I think I'm all good, honestly.
Have you ever dreamed that you were the chaser and not the chasee?
Just being a nightmare.
He's just like, maybe I am the one that's causing trauma.
I was already the ghost. Now I am the nightmare.
Yeah, in a nightmare, be like, turn around mid hallway, just be like, hold on, what is chasing me?
Am I the chaser?
Am I the chasee?
I have been both in one single dream before, which was.
You were dreaming of playing tag?
No, it was not tag. There was violence and sharp objects involved in said dream.
Oh, violence and sharp objects.
Mm-hmm.
This
violence with sharp objects.
Was it by a member of the opposite sex? We'll get into it later.
That means this
is not the kind of stuff to make public.
Sure thing. This one's interesting. Dreams where you lose teeth. Where you lose teeth in your dream, it means that you were worried about your appearance or your attractiveness.
What? Who dreams about losing their teeth specifically?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's dreams about dying. Let's see.
Wait. So dreams about dying. Are we talking about like someone fully goes through the process of death in the dream and then wakes up, or someone wakes up right before?
Maybe that happens. I'm thinking it's probably just dreams where you witness someone die, or there's someone, either if it's you or another person who's dying in the dream.
Extreme on that one.
I've had that dream before. I don't know if this is healthy or not, but I've dreamed that I've been murdered a couple of times.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that means about me, but let's look through this article and see.
Oh, gosh.
It reflects fear of the unknown, is what it says. So I mean, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Murder might be in my future. I have no.
For something so dramatic, how could we get a meaning that is so boring?
I don't know. I mean, psychologists,
Yeah, exactly.
Dreams about taking a test. Okay. To dream of failing an exam, being late for one, or being unprepared shows that you are feeling unprepared for the challenges of waking life. This feels a lot like the dying one. It's just like you never know what's going to happen in the future. So therefore,
taking a test is like dying.
You heard it here first. All right. This one's interesting. Dreams about infidelity.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another what if dream. You are testing the limits of reality because you're anxious about what might happen. A lot of these are, just dreams that happen out of anxiety or ignorance of what might happen, or not knowing the future, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it human is to be unstable?
I mean, is that just humans trying, because we're so logical creatures. We need to kind of have this sort of control over everything in our life. Therefore, we need to have control over the thing that is the most unpredictable, i.e., the future.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, if the dream is something you can control in a sense more than the future,
yeah,
then it's the closest you got to interpreting that.
I might pursue that a little bit. This is interesting to me. You know, if that's the way we are as humans, we have a desperate desire to know exactly what's going to happen next, exactly, you know, what we're going to do, how things are going to unfold.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that there's some common innate sense that we don't, even though a lot of people would like to think that we do.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so we still dream about it.
Yeah.
You can't escape the uncertainty. It's going to haunt your dreams, you know, regardless of how good of a thumb you think you've got on life.
Yeah, like what's gonna happen.
Yeah. You know what I heard the other day is I heard something like if you dream constantly about someone you fancy or someone you're interested in, that means that they are also dreaming about you. I think
that sounds like.
Where did you pick this up from?
No, Instagram.
Oh gosh, of course. Yeah. I was gonna say either some lonesome homeschooler.
Yeah,
or
I'm like that's a nice sentiment, but I doubt that is true.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably just some white girl hoping for the best.
Finding any
some
excuse
white
to
girl
believe
who's
that,
a wannabe psychologist who's just making stuff up and putting it on Instagram.
I had half a semester of psychology classes. Okay,
she's
don't
the
mess with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that was a good impression.
You just have to sound
Gideon
dumb.
White girl from now on.
Yeah, you just have to sound dumb while you're trying to sound smart.
Yeah,
that's about all you need to be white girl.
Okay,
I think that's a good place to end it. Right there. Just that line right there.
Dreams. Advice on how to sound like a white girl.
Yeah,
This is
a jam-packed episode, and we're very grateful, Graham, that you were here to join us for it.
No, that was fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. How much traction this episode is gonna get?
Yeah, now I really want to look up more about dreams.
Yeah, if you take anything away from this, do your research. Yeah, well, it's been great having you on the podcast, Graham. We'll have to have you on again sometime.
Thank you guys for having me. This is been fun.
Yeah, this is In the Garden with Jake Hughes and Gideon Marlatt and our special guest, Graham Burns.
Adios.